Okay, it's Sunday, which means it's not time to go to Reddit at all this time, because there were enough questions in Discord that I didn't have to go to Reddit. Wow, what a beautiful day it was. So we're gonna talk about talk about Overwatch while some Dragon Ball FighterZ plays in the background. If you're wondering which side I'm on, look for the bright blue Android 21. That's the side I was on. So, first up is... Oh god, I adjusted the size of the window, everything's fucked up. Would you ever do an updated Let's Get Good at Every Hero in Overwatch and or updated map guides? Yes, if I get to 2,000 subs. The 2,000 subs video would be every hero in Overwatch, and then I would set a day after that, like, I don't know, Saturday or something, where I would upload an updated map guide for every week until they were all done after that. Discounting the ones that are not in the competitive rotation. No one gives a fuck about Paris and Horizon. So, yes. 2,000 subs. Next up, do you think heroes with base health pools larger than 600 could be added in the future? I won't say no, but I do think that going over 600 starts to get a little bit on the spooky side as far as balance goes. It seems like it would start getting very difficult to reliably kill that tank. Because, you know, if they got a health pool over 600, it's a tank. It seems like it would be pretty difficult to start killing them at that point. Unless they were just, like, ungodly large. And then, but at the same time, even if it starts getting hard to kill them, they might still end up being bad just by virtue of the fact that the bigger your health pool is, the easier it is for you to feed. Because let's be real as well, right? Supposing Blizzard puts in a hero that has, like, say 800 health, just for argument's sake. You know that they're gonna say, alright, Jeff is gonna sit there and he's gonna say to himself, alright, so there needs to be some sort of downside to this boy having a lot of health. What's that gonna be? It's gonna be that it's just really easy to hit him. And if you, like, this is the problem that Roadhog and, like, Winston's ult have, which will be coming up briefly. They feed a lot, and feeding a lot is really bad, so, you know, I think it's gonna be difficult to balance a hero with more than 600 health, but at the same time, I'm not gonna say no, because, hey, just because I can't think of it doesn't mean it can't be done, right? I think, in general, it's a bad idea to say something like, oh, they should never do this, they should always do that. I don't like that kind of mindset, but I do think it would be difficult to balance that. Not that that's ever stopped them from doing weird stuff that's hard to balance before, right? Look at Bastion Doomfist. They're pretty weird and hard to balance, but they still did it. They still did it. So, no, I won't say no, but I don't know what they would do. Next up is, do you think just giving Hog a passive that would reduce the amount of ult charge you get from hurting him by like minus 15% would work? Maybe give Winston the same thing when he's in Primal Rage. I think definitely give this to Winston, maybe more than 15%. I don't know, it's hard to say the number offhand, because ult charge percentage gain is such a weird stat to, like, envision mentally. But, like, I think definitely give it to Winston. Like, one of the biggest things that holds Winston back, in my opinion, is the fact that his ultimate just feeds so much ult charge. So I think definitely give it to him. And I'd probably go, like, 25-33%, like, off the bat, see if that works, adjust from there. That's probably what I would open with, though. Hog, I don't know. I don't know what to do with Roadhog. Like, it definitely wouldn't hurt him, right? Like, it's an objective buff, certainly. But I don't know that it, like, the bigger problem for Roadhog, in my opinion, isn't really that he feeds a lot of ult charge, though that's bad, obviously. It's just that I find he lacks... He's just so lackluster compared to the other off-tanks, pretty much, by which I largely mean Zarya, of course. But D.Va as well, I think Roadhog just gets shit on by D.Va and Zarya in terms of utility. And then it's like, so why are we picking Roadhog over these two tanks? Well, he's got hard crowd control. And that's, like, it, really. There's not really much other reason to pick him. You can say, well, he's good at breaking barriers, but that's really not that big of a deal anymore. Like, a lot of people are good at breaking barriers since the barriers, broadly speaking, got nerfed, you know? So I don't think that him being good at breaking barriers is that helpful, except against specific comps, you know, double barrier, obviously. So, like, this would definitely help him, but I feel like Roadhog needs something more. I still maintain that he should be able to no questions asked one-shot somebody, but they'll never actually do that, because people will cry too much, pretty much. That was a very badly worded sentence. Whatever, it's fine. Yeah, like, I would, like, I think along more realistic lines is just give him that buff that he had on the PTR a while ago, where he had the AoE heal effect around him. I think just give him that one straight up. Give him a reduction to, like, ult charge gain, probably. I don't know, I'm less sure about doing that to Roadhog than I am to Winston. With Winston, I'm like, yeah, 100% give him that. But, like, Roadhog, I'm not so sure I like that as just, like, a passive that he has, really. I don't know. Roadhog, it's so fucked up. Like, alright. Honestly, just make Roadhog into a DPS. Just, like, nerf his health down to, like, 300. Change his healing, his vape to fucking 150 with, like, 25% damage reduction or something. And just, like, let him one-shot people when he hooks them. If he's a DPS, surely they can't object. Well, they'll still object, but it's so much... We have to take them dramatically less seriously at that point. Just yeah. Just make him a DPS. Fuck it. Just stop trying to balance him like he's a tank. Then also, maybe people will stop, like, DPS players will stop going like, alright, I'm gonna pick... Fuck it. I'm gonna pick tank to get a shorter Q, and I'm just gonna insta-lock Roadhog no matter what happens. Can't do it if he's a DPS. Ha ha ha. I've saved Overwatch. Good job, self. Alright, so, yeah, definitely give it to Winston. I don't know about, Roadhog so much, though. So, next up is, context about, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. What would be your mindset behind trying to nerf a character like this, where the high skill ceiling... where the high skill ceiling was intended to balance the character by making her not as good in the hands of an amateur, but godlike in the hands of a pro. Think Akali, Lisa, and Tracer Sombra. This is very difficult, because personally, I am fine with a hero being really fucking strong, provided they're hard to play. You know, somebody that is easy to play shouldn't be able to reach that kind of high, but I think just being hard to play is a fine balancing thing in and of itself. But, you know, then you have to wonder, alright, well, what do I do for balancing them at the high level, right? I think, like, probably the best thing to do, but it's so, like, a character like this, their balance, it rests so delicately in such a small, dubious place, where you turn one knob too far and the whole thing's fucked up, right? So, like, you could try and nerf it just so that they're harder to play still. So, like, in the context of, like, Fairy in Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, I would say, like, tighten the windows on things, basically. Make it harder to perform various aspects of what she already does by just, like, reducing the window that you can do it in, so that your execution needs to be even tighter to actually do it. But I think a better way to approach this kind of thing is to not actually do anything to the character themselves, and instead buff somebody that counters them, right? So, to be honest with you, I don't really know enough about Grand Blue compared to, like, fighters to really give a really educated opinion on what to do with that specifically, but, like, nerf or buff a character that counters Fairy, because then the metagame can sort that problem out by itself, right? And then you can go from there, because, alright, so we buff character that counters Fairy, we start seeing less Fairy. If we see Fairy, then at least people have, like, a response they can go to, like, deal with the Fairy situation, which is to pick the counter instead, right? And then, like, online, people are less inclined to pick the really strong character if they're going to be running into the character that counters them constantly, right? So I think that would be the best thing to do in that kind of situation, is just buff the heroes that counter them instead. And I would say this with all the other games as well, really, is just like buff the character that counters it and let the metagame sort it out at that point. And then this could theoretically end up in this position where it's just like an arms race where we buff the one character and now we buff the other character, then we buff that character, and it could just infinitely escalate up. So there's definitely like a ceiling on that where eventually you'd have to go, alright, we just have to like nerf them somehow. But I think that's what my approach would be. Don't even nerf the character themselves, buff their counters instead. And then just let the metagame take care of it with, like, online tournaments, you know, like, in the context of a fighting game, having something that just counters the character deals with it in, like, a tournament setting, because if somebody is known for picking Ferry, well, we know he's gonna be there. We're gonna practice this character that counters Ferry, you know? So, yeah, I think that's what I would do. Outside of just trying to raise their skill cap even more than it already does, but again, these characters that are like this are so finely balanced that it's very easy to just fuck it up one way or the other. They're too easy to play, now they're just completely overpowering, now they're so hard to play that, like, basically nobody's gonna bother, because why would I when I can just pick somebody else that gets roughly the same reward for, like, way less effort, right? You know? Yeah, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. So, next up is... what's your favorite thing to do / play with Hamlet? He doesn't really play, to be honest with you. He's kind of like me, where he's very sedentary and quite miserable, just, you know, as a person. So, pretty much he just sits on the desk, puts his rests his whole body on my arm, and then just, like, pet the cat. And he's very content, and I don't get my arm back for the next, like, 5 hours, is pretty much how it goes. That's basically it. Next up is, which is the more impactful role, tank or support? It is, like, definitely tank. If you're playing support, and you end up in, like... I mean, we've all been there, right? You're playing support and you end up with the tank player that just is, like, doesn't want to do anything. And there's very little you can do to prompt that tank into actually playing well, right? Where if they don't want to go through that doorway, they aren't going to fucking walk through that doorway, so... shit, I guess I lost. Shit. Or the tank player just, like, feeds a lot, and they're like, you know... We've all been there. There's a lot of situations you get into when you're playing with a bad tank, where there's just nothing you can do about it, dude. You can make that case with support as well, of course, but that is usually bad tank players that are actually making that argument, and they need to get carried by their supports to actually win any games, pretty much. I think, you know, if you're playing, like, Anna, I think you can start getting, like, a comparable level of, impact out of your hero if you're, like, really fucking good at Anna, pretty much. But broadly speaking, like, if you just, like, know how to play Reinhardt middlingly well, you'll carry a game, like, no big deal, brother. It's not that hard once you get, like, good at Reinhardt. This coming from the perspective of somebody that got 2 masters playing Reinhardt, so perhaps it's fairly rich for me to say that it's not hard to climb on Reinhardt, but it's just like, once you understand how to play the hero, you just clap the other Reinhardt, and there's, like, not much they can do about it at that point, to be honest with you. Not every tank is going to have the same level of impact, of course. Like, if you're really good at Winston, like, you're impactful, sure, but you're never going to be as impactful as being a really good Winston as you are being, like, a really good Reinhardt player, right? You'll still, like, all things being equal, the Reinhardt player will get more out of his hero than the Winston player will on average. Main tanks will also generally be more impactful than off tanks, but that's not necessarily true. If you're a god tier Zarya player, that's fucking scary, dude. Jesus Christ. A well-played Zarya is fucking terrifying, man. She just runs at you, she's glowing like a fucking nuclear power plant, she's like, bzzz, and you fucking die. And then she goes over to your front, and she's like, bzzz, you fucking die, you know? But, like, if you play, like, Diva, you're not gonna get as much impact out of that hero as you will Zarya or one of the main tanks. So, not every tank is created equal, just, you know, shockingly enough, right? They're not all the same character. But it is definitely more impactful than support. I did notice, I feel like Reddit changes their opinion on this like every couple of weeks, it feels like, but there was this time not that long ago where, well, this one was kind of a while ago at this point, where they were saying just pick a DPS and hard carry. They've pretty much stopped saying that because, like, no. DPS is, to be honest, the least impactful role in the entire game, to be honest with you. If you're, like, you know, if you're a fucking S-tier Widowmaker player, yeah, you'll hard carry every game that you're in, sure, whatever the fuck. For 99.9% of the player base, DPS is actually the least impactful role, because if your tanks are not making any space for you, you can't do any damage. You simply can't. It's out of your hands at that point, dude. If you're playing, like, DPS and your supports are asleep at the wheel, it gets really fucking hard to do anything as well. Especially depending on the type of DPS you play. If you play Pharah and your supports just don't work with you at all, you have to stop playing Pharah. I'm sorry. So you get real fucked depending on, like, the DPS you play, as well, as far as this goes. Broadly, I think Reddit stopped saying that. Then, they said start picking healer and hard carry. Now, they said tank like a week ago, and now they've gone back to saying support again. They're all over the fucking place over there. I see people saying conflicting things constantly. Shockingly, on the internet, I know people are saying shit that is incorrect. Oh, that's never happened before, has it now? So, the moral of the story is don't fucking listen to what anyone on Reddit says. They're dumbasses who thought that you could, like, hard carry every game in bronze as Widowmaker, when, like, you're in bronze for a fucking reason, brother. That was always the funniest shit, dude. My man comes into thread and they're like, what do to get out of bronze? I play DPS. And some fucking fucko goes, just pick DPS and hard carry. Yeah. My man in bronze is going to be able to pull that off no problem, isn't he? That's why he's in bronze, you know. Anyway. Same, you know, anytime anybody really says to you, just pick X and carry on it, disregard everything that person says to you from that point forward. They clearly are not but a fucking troglodyte that has nothing actually impactful to say. They just have heard this parroted at them, and now they will parrot it back at you. Just fucking pick Reinhardt and carry. If you don't know how to play Reinhardt, you're not going to carry. I'm sorry. You can't just pick the hero and carry. It's not that simple. It's not that easy. We all wish it was that easy, but it's not that easy. Anyway, I'm going to stop complaining about that one now and go on to the next question. This is actually the last question for this week. 20 minutes? You know, it's probably going to be close enough. What's one buff you'd give to every tank, regardless of size? So, well, if I was only going to give him one buff, I'm going to go with Roadhog's easy. I'm going to say give him the AoE heal from the PTR a while ago. Just that, straight up. Let's see, one buff for the other tanks. Hammond, let his grappling hook attach to the ground. Yeah, just let his grappling hook attach to the ground. Let him do cool shit on the ground. Like, you know, it wouldn't make him that fucking overpowered. It'd be fine. I was just making, it's more like a quality of life thing for Hammond, to be honest with you. I don't think it would significantly affect his balance. It's just Hammond players would be pretty fucking stoked about it. I know my friend would definitely be like, he'd come, actually. He'd just come right there on the spot if he saw that in the patch notes one day. And then he'd fucking turbo feed at that point. Oh, it would be unreal. Let's see, who else? Alright, so Reinhardt. What would I do to Reinhardt? I don't know that I would want to do anything to Reinhardt, to be honest with you. Huh. What's a buff I would give to Reinhardt? It would be something really fucking small, like reduce the recovery time on Fire Strike by like 0.2 seconds or something like that. Like, it would be something really minute that would just, like, make life slightly easier, because I think Reinhardt is, like, he's pretty good right now. I don't think Reinhardt really needs much adjustment. Maybe just, like, buff his shield back up to 2000. We nerfed his ultimate, at this point, so I feel like that would be fine, like, recompense. Yeah, you know, either buff the shield back up to 2000 or just, like, reduce cast time on, or recovery time on Fire Strike by, like, a very minor amount. Just make it a little easier to use in melee, basically. Winston. I think buff his damage very slightly. By which I basically mean let him kill somebody through Mercy's healing slightly more reliably, because he can't do it reliably right now. If I'm only putting one buff on him, I want it to be something kind of minor, to be honest with you, with the exception of Roadhog, who is just a garbage fire and needs as much help as he can get. Yeah, I'd either go, just like, buff his damage ever so slightly, or just give him the damage reduction, or the ult charge reduction on his ultimate. Maybe just give him damage reduction on his ultimate, actually. No. I already changed my mind on that one. Give him the ult reduction, ult charge reduction, or just buff his damage really, really slightly. Let's see, so Orisa. Either completely remove the movement speed penalty on her firing at this point, or make it so that none of her abilities interrupt her reload. Yeah, just let her do whatever the fuck while she's reloading and it doesn't cancel the reload. Or, no movement speed penalty. D.Va, completely remove the movement speed penalty when she's firing. I don't think D.Va should have that. I've never thought D.Va should really have that. It seems to go kind of against the idea of the hero, that they're like this aggressive, divey tank, and then like, as soon as they get on you, they slow down immediately afterwards, and you like scuttle away from them, right? I don't really like that. So remove the movement speed penalty on D.Va, or lower it more than it is if you don't want to completely remove it, you know, maybe be a little bit more restrained about it, just reduce it more. Maybe buff the damage on micro missiles a little bit. I do mean a little bit. Just make it a little easier for her to combo somebody. But then her comboing somebody isn't exactly difficult right now, so yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the movement speed penalty. Just reduce it or remove it more, or remove it or reduce it more. I don't really like movement speed penalty stuff, especially in a game that's as fast as Overwatch. I think if you're gonna put that on a hero, it should be like for a very finite window of time, not just while they're firing. You know, just like when they're using like certain abilities, slow them down, rather than just like when they're firing at you, slow them down. I think Overwatch is too fast as a game. I don't think we should be doing that to people. So let's see. So it was Road, Rhine, Orisa, Winston, Diva. So I'm just gonna look at the list of tanks because I can't keep it straight in my head while I'm doing this. Overwatch characters. That's gonna sound fantastic. My keyboard's right next to the microphone. So tanks. So we did Ryan, Orisa, Roadhog, Winston, Hammond, Diva. So Sigma and Zarya. Sigma, I'd just let him move his shield around freely. I don't like that there's a cooldown when he takes the shield down. I don't like that at all. I would definitely just take that off of him at this point. Or make it so that his ult can only be cancelled if he dies, rather than if he gets crowd controlled. But I would go with just let him freely move the shield around. I don't think it should have the cooldown when he takes it down. I think that makes him so much... It makes him so much more clunky to play. I don't like it. Like, I was pretty into Sigma when he got released, but like when that change got put in, he just felt so awkward, so unintuitive and clunky to play. I just don't like playing Sigma anymore after that, so that would be my number one. Just take that off of him. And Zarya. Shit, dude. I feel like Zarya is pretty much, like, perfect, to be honest with you. I don't know what the fuck you'd do to Zarya. Like, one buff for Zarya. Like, it has to be something really minor. I'd probably say... let her just get 50% off of each of her bubbles again, rather than 40%. Just let her get to 100% off of 2 bubbles. Like, I don't feel like, to be honest with you, like, Zarya at high charge is already, like, so fucking strong that I feel like if you did that, it wouldn't even really affect her balance that much. It would obviously be a buff, but I don't think it would even really affect it that much. It would just be better. It would just feel better when you get full charge off of both your bubbles. You're like, yeah, 100%, rather than, yeah, 80%. Maybe let her cast her own bubble on her while she's stunned, specifically. Like, not if she's, like, hacked or something, but, like, maybe let her use her personal bubble if she gets stunned. But, like, that's probably too much. Like, then it would be, like, really hard to slow Zarya down at all. So, like, probably not, but, like, I can't really think of anything else I would do to Zarya. Maybe when she's at, like, 90% charge, she does increase damage to shields, or she gets the symmetry thing where she starts leeching ammo off of shields while she's lasering them, specifically at, like, close to max charge or max charge. But again, that would probably be too much. These are just the ideas that came to mind. Like, I feel like Zarya, she's pretty good. She's pretty much in her ideal position right now, I'd say. So, like, just give her a 50 off of each shield, or don't do anything to her. And that was everybody, right? So it was Rhine, like, reduce recovery on fire strike slightly. Road, give him the AoE heal. Diva, reduce the movement speed. Orisa, just let her reload no matter what, or reduce movement speed more. Toes, just let him cast his shield. Winston, slightly more damage or ult reduction or ult charge reduction nerf. Hammond, let him grapple the ground. And then Zarya, fuck dude, I don't know. Yeah, that's everybody. Alright. So now I just have to wait for this game to finish over here. Which I'm losing right now. It could be going better, certainly. It's okay though. Like 90% of the games I win in this game, I win with just Gogeta. That's it. We get down to the last character, it's like, alright. Now to take the game seriously, you know? It's very rare I win with, like, all of my characters. That doesn't happen. I'm not about that life. I'm all about, alright, get down to the anchor. Let's fucking get him. Let's fucking get him now, boys. That's all we need. We only need the one. It helps that Gogeta's a very independent boy. He doesn't need much in the way of assistance to get shit done. which is always the characters that I'm drawn to, because I'm really bad at execution, pretty much. Like, you can do some, like, really funky, wicked, nasty Ultra Instinct Goku combos, but shit, dude, they're hard. Like, they're fucking hard, brother. Shit, dude, you think I can do that? I can't do that shit. Oh my god. I have to really fucking like the character to learn how to do, like, any kind of optimal stuff, or I have to have played them for an extremely long time. Like, Android 21's combos are actually pretty hard to do execution-wise, but I've played Android 21 for so long that it's fine, you know, I've pretty much got it. Even then, like, they're not really the ideal combos still, because her ideal combos have, like, really fucking tight timings on them. Gogeta's pretty easy. Like, he has some kind of long combos, but to be honest with you, they're all really easy. Like, you're not doing anything especially complicated to get shit done on Gogeta. The most you're prompted to do is, like, do a quarter circle, like, back right at the start, and that's kind of it. After that, it's pretty easy. Am I gonna lose to this guy? Don't lose to this guy. He's, like, not very good, to be honest. I'm gonna lose to this guy that's not very good, aren't I? The only hit point that matters is the last one, brother. Don't let him get ya. Ah, you let him get you. Oh, past me. Oh, he hit him with the fucking tick throw. The fucking classic. The absolute Babby's first opener. That's the power of Ultra Instinct for you right there. So thank you very much for watching. If you did, if you have any questions, feel free to ask one. Happy to answer. If you would like your question answered, then... oh, fuck, hold on. I just realized I didn't check the comments from the last YouTube video, but I don't think there was anything there, but let me just double check. Because if I missed that one, holy shit, would I be upset with myself. Just double check the oh my god, I know, you know, it's a professional operation that we run around here. God, the fucking, what am I thinking? Trying to go through the fucking creator studio to find that? That's, you gotta go to the video itself. It's the only way, brother. It's the only way. Yes, oh god, hey, question for next week. Oh, Jesus Christ. Just narrowly dodged missing that one, oh my god. How, okay, so let me start another game over here. Jesus Christ. I would have been thinking about this till the day I fucking died if I'd missed this one. How are you supposed to play Ball / what should Ball do? I want to understand more about him. I always hate to see him on my team and would like to know how to play with them better. I feel as if a lot of ball players go in alone when everyone is respawning, but I also don't want to blame teammates, so any help would be appreciated. So, Hammond players are definitely going to do that to you, and there's not a lot you can do about it, really. Like, if they're just gonna, like, go in 1v6 while their teammates are respawning, like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do about that one, you know? So, like, is this about... How are you supposed to play Ball? What should you do about... Okay, the follow-up part kind of made me wonder if you were like, how should I play with Ball? But it's not, what should Ball do? So, like, Hammond is basically trying to play the same as Winston would play, where you're trying to, like, get in there and just, like, disrupt them and then get back out again. And then you just keep doing that repetitively, and then, like, you wait till, like, the, what's it called? Adaptive barrier is ready, and then you go in, you fly above the mans, you slam on them, you adaptive barrier, you shoot, and you roll away. And then, you know, Hammond gets to do stuff that Winston doesn't get to do outside of, like, when he's in his ultimate. Because what a lot of Hammond players will do is they'll just, like, barrel straight into the enemy team and, like, bash straight through them to touch the point or something like that. Not a very productive way to go about things. It's better to go behind the enemy team and then bash them into your team, rather than away from your team. You know, like, just knock the fucking Reinhardt into your teammates, and hopefully they fucking get him, you know? But, like, you know, the basic playstyle, or the goal of him anyway, is the same that Winston is, where he's a disruption dive tank. So you're just trying to get in, get out, annoy them, get as much ult charge as you can, and then when you've built your you build your ultimate pretty fucking fast as Hammond. So you get in there, you do this over and over and over again till you have your ultimate, and then you go for the ult, and you go for the big engage, where you drop above them, you drop your mines, and then you slam down on top of them. Yeah, oh shit. You start bashing them into the fucking mines. They don't like it very much. But yeah, like, it's, like, conceptually, Hammond isn't really that difficult. It's just that the way he is typically played is, I'm fucking going, dude, where they just, like, smash straight through the front line and then, like, kind of just, like, hope that their teammates follow them in and do stuff. And, like, sometimes that's good enough, but ideally you're pushing the enemy, like, it's the same thing with, like, Lucio, right, where, like, people will boop, like, when Lucio players will boop people just for the sake of booping them, rather than, like, booping them in any kind of intelligent direction. Hammond players will do the same thing, where they're just bashing people for the sake of bashing them. They're not actually, like, thinking about why they're doing it. And yeah, like, Hammond players, if they just, like, go in all by them lonesomes while everybody's respawning, like, yeah, fucking, you know, there you go. There you fucking go, you know, like, you can do that on any hero, but yeah, if he does that, like, what are you gonna do, dude? What are you gonna do, realistically? You'll be sad about it, is what you're gonna do, realistically. So, like, you know, like, as far as playing with Hammond goes, you just want to play, like, ideally, if you're playing with Hammond, you're playing with him the same way you'd play with a Winston. Which is just that, like, when Hammond goes in, engages, does the thing, and then you follow up and take advantage of this disruption, you know, and it's all good times. In an ideal world. Tragically, we very frequently do not live in an ideal world. So sometimes the Hammond player is going to spend more time pushing the enemy team away from you, and you're going to be really upset about it, and, you know, it was... Yeah, I don't really have too much more to say about it, really, because, like, you know, Hammond, like, the difficulty from playing Hammond does not come from the conceptual side of matters. It comes from the execution side, because Hammond has, I think, undeniably the highest skill cap out of any of the tanks in the game. Yeah, do I have anything else to say about it before I start the next one? I would like to know how to play with them better, like, you know... So, I'll try. I'll do my best. Oh, I've unplugged the controller. Well, that's gonna make it hard to pick the next game, isn't it? Fucking shitty PlayStation controller wires, oh my god. The better controllers, but, like, oh my god, the wires are terrible. So, like, if you're playing with a good Hammond, you know, I don't really have anything more to say about it. You pretty much play as if you would be playing with Winston, where you just wait for them to engage and you follow up on it and take advantage of that disruption. If you're playing with a bad Hammond, like, you know, you don't get much in the way of things that you can do about it. Because if they're always pushing people away from you, you know, it, like, because there's two different ways they could be bad, which is one that they're not really feeding, but they're not really being especially productive either. So they're just kind of, like, rolling into the enemy team, kind of bashing them away from you and, like, shooting at somebody a little bit. Like, that Hammond is still disrupting them. He's just not doing it as well as he could be. But at the very least, like, while they're looking at him, they're not looking at you. Because even a bad Hammond does demand a degree of attention, right? Like, Hammond, when he is going through your team, you fucking know about it, right? Like, you fucking know that it's happening. And you're none too pleased about it. So you want that guy to fuck off. So while even when he's, like, bashing through, not really doing too much, they are still looking at him, so you just try and take advantage of that disruption as much as you can while he's doing it. Which, you know, depending on who you're going to play, you're going to have more and less ways to do this, right? Like, if you're playing Anna, you get to chuck your grenade in when he kind of scatters them, and that's like the most you can do to follow it up, you know? You know, if you're playing a tank, then you do whatever you can to, like, take advantage of that. If you're a main tank, that's when you try and follow up on that as much as you can. Like, they're looking at him, maybe I can earth shatter them from behind or something now. If I'm playing Zarya, you know, they're gonna get scattered, so it's gonna be kind of hard for me to do anything about that, but I'm at least gonna get a lot of charge off of Hammond doing this when I bubble him, right? Like, I'm gonna get a lot of charge at the very least. And, you know, DPS is a myriad different ways you do stuff with that. Now, if the Hammond is really bad, like, we're not talking just kind of, like, going in and doing stuff and, like, not really accomplishing anything, you know, like, if he's, like, feeding, he's going in while your team's dead, and he's just, like, rolling in there, getting crowd-controlled and dying, Mei walls him off, shit like that. Again, there's not really much you can do to stop him doing that, other than, like, yo, Hammond, can you stop doing that, please? And then, they don't listen to you. You didn't buy the game, you can't tell me what to do, brother. Then, you just basically have to try and take advantage of that disruption as much as you can. Because, again, they are still looking at him, they are still having to pay attention to him while this is happening. They can't just completely disregard him. They're having to dedicate some of their resources into killing him. So you just try and take advantage of that as much as you can to at least gain some ground. If not really accomplish anything, you can at least walk through the door a little bit more while they're all turning around to ass blast him, right? And then that's about it, really. Like, just like any tank, really, if the Hammond is bad, there's not that much you can do about it, dude. Like, if the guy is bad, he's bad, and, like, shit, dude, if that Reinhardt's feeding, what are you gonna do about it, right? What are you gonna do about it? We've already talked about that one many times before. So yeah, that's kind of it. Just try and take advantage of what disruption he is causing, at the very least, if you're playing with a bad one, because he will still be causing some disruption, even if he's bad. They're still looking at him. Try and take advantage as much as you can. And if you're playing with a good Hammond, like, they'll make it really easy. Like, the good Hammonds are the ones that bash them into your team instead of away from them, and then it's really easy to follow up on that. Like, oh shit, they're in my team now, so I fucking get them. I fucking get them, you know. At the very least, most Hammond players understand how to use their ultimates somewhat well, and at the very least, the minefield is pretty fucking annoying. So, at the very least, if you can, like, keep the guy alive a little bit, he might get a decent engage with his ultimate off, if nothing else, but, like, ideally, it, like, plays itself if you're playing with the good Hammond. Otherwise, you just try and take advantage of what disruption that he does cause, even if it's really bad. So, there you go. So, that's actually the last question for this week. Jesus Christ. Fucking pass me. Jesus Christ. What a fucking dumbass. Oh my god. Alright, so, thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, more than happy to answer. If you have any questions, I was about to repeat the exact same thing I just said. I'm all fucked up now. If you have a question you would like answered, post it in the comments, or join Discord, and you can post it in there. There's a whole channel set up. There's 2 different things you can do. Go ahead. Start streaming on Twitch Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, 8 p.m. EST to 11 EST. There's a link to your channel in the description. And if you managed to make all the way through the videos and have still enjoyed it, please like the video and subscribe for more content of middling quality in the future. And I hope you found the video helpful. I swear I'm going to upload more than 1 video this week.